Hi everybody, what's good? Welcome back to Film Scoring for Beginners episode 9. Today I'm going to teach you how to keep video and audio in sync, although you make tempo changes in the project. Now it's quite likely that you will bump into the situation where a film director wants to make changes to tempo at different places of the film score. And maybe they want certain scenes to feel more exciting and more up-tempo. And that's when you're going to make tempo changes, and that will affect the cues later on in the project. Now, as mentioned, this is episode 9 in the Film Scoring for Beginners, and if you're new to my series, I highly recommend that you go back and watch the previous episode. Now you can quickly jump to the previous episode if you click the card up here, and it will take you to episode 8, where we talk about the Rings of Power main theme. And we dissect that cue and talk about the music theory behind. Okay, so back to keeping video and audio in sync in a film scoring project. If we take a demo project like this, where we have one cue at 2 minutes, we have a second cue at 3 minutes, and we have a third cue at the 7 minutes. Now, if you don't need to make any tempo changes later on in the project, this will work just fine. But say that the film director reaches out to you and say they want to increase the tempo here at Q1. So what's going to happen? Well, if you increase the tempo on Q1, Q2 and Q3 will be placed earlier on in the timeline. Respectively, if we lower the tempo on Q1, Q2 and Q3 will be played later on in the project. But today I'll show you a small trick that you can do in Logic Pro so you can make sure that the cues stay perfectly in time, although you make tempo changes at different places. So let's look at a real-world example. Right, so here's my sample project in Logic Pro. It's a film that I scored in 2015 called Call Showho. And as we can see here, we have 3 different scenes and 3 different cues. So we have scene 1, scene 2 and scene 3. And there's a little bit of tempo changes going on here, but not too major stuff. So let's quickly look at the different scenes and hear what kind of music we have. So that's scene 1, then we have scene 2. Scene 2 is a little bit more of a kind of free-flowing tempo. And then finally we have scene 3, which is a little bit more up-tempo. So what we could see here is at scene 3, the music or the guitars kicks in when he picks up the phone. And in scene 2, we start the music when we see the car driving in. So that is the timing that we want to keep in this project. Now, if the film director contacts us and wants us to increase the tempo for, say, the scene 1 here, look what will happen. So we will increase the tempo from 83 to, say, 120 for scene 1. It's quite a drastic example, but now if we look at scene 2, where is the music? It's starting too early, and the same thing will fall down the whole project like this. If we go to scene 3, the music will start way too early. Long before the actual scene 3 kicks in here, where he picks up the phone. Now to fix this, we first need to undo our tempo changes here. Let's press Command and C. And we will use Logic Pro's function called SMTP lock. So what you do is select all the regions or all the events that you have in these two queues. And you right click and go down to SMTP lock, and you select lock SMTP position. And you can see that on all these events you get this little lock. And that means that these events will be locked exactly to this time, exactly to these SMTP timeframes. So although we make tempo changes here to scene 1, let's increase the tempo again here to 120. You can see that now the events will be moved further down the line here, so they will still play at the exact times that we decided earlier. So scene 2 is okay, and let's see scene 3, when he picks up the phone. So now, no matter how we change the tempo here earlier in the project, let's lower this to even lower, like 60 BPM. And you can see these other events will move around in the project, so they will match against their SMTP position. And now, since we lowered the tempo on this cue, it will actually play into the second one, so we just need to get rid of some notes on this cue. But as you can see, it syncs perfectly in time with scene number 2. Right, so what can we take away from this? Well, as soon as you have a project filled with different music cues and someone asks you to change the tempo earlier on in the project, make sure to use SMTP lock on all the other cues and all the other music events in the project that you don't want to move in time. And as we can see, if we make use of the SMTP lock, they will stay perfectly in time and still be syncing to the SMTP timecode. But as you probably noticed here in my example, that although we have the different events SMTP locked, when we adjust the tempo here at the beginning of the project, the different markers here will still stay at the same beat markings here. So you need to make changes to the markers to match up with the new places that the cues end up at. But that's just a minor little thing you have to pay attention to. Alright guys, I hope you liked this little power tip in Logic Pro, and if you want to learn the full potential of Logic Pro, make sure you sign up to my upcoming Logic Pro Essentials course. There's a link in the description, and if you click that link you can sign up to the newsletter and get all the news on when the Logic Pro Essentials course will be released. Right, so if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my upcoming episodes. Thanks for watching today, and see you in the next video. Bye!